today with high prices still and high interest rates, it's hard to make a long-term rental cash flow. So it's a lot safer for people to buy a medium-term or mid-term rental. And so that's kind of why we're really excited about this. And then with the book, it was really focused on taking action. And so we wanted to give people not just concepts, but actually actionable steps. And so we made it that if somebody never knew about real estate, they could pick up the book and by the end go buy a midterm rental.
You are now listening to the highlight reel builder for authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, best-selling author, and Maxwell Leadership Certified Trainer, DomBrightmon. And you're going to be getting some tips and techniques to advance yourself coming up next. Today's episode is sponsored by book number 2 from DomBrightmon, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success. It is the field guide to help unleash the elite performer that is inside of you. Cop it today on Amazon.com or heading over to DomBrightmon.com and snag it in book, ebook, and audiobook, so that way you can take it on the go and get yourself on the go to your northbound success. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, is the Going North podcast. We got another super special, awesome human for you today, my friends. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Because we got somebody who is a money honey because they making that money, and she is someone's sonny because she's a newlywed at the time of this record, baby. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Because today's featured best-selling author, folks, is a personal finance coach, licensed real estate agent, and avid real estate investor of 10 plus years, y'all. And she's also a fellow podcast host as well. So she knows how to rock the mic from both ends indeed. So let's give it up for the Z and the M and the AM and the PM, the one and only Zeona McIntyre. How you doing today, Zeona?
Great. Yeah, thanks for having me. Feeling pumped.
Yeah, that's right indeed. She's pumped like an air pump. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Maybe 5 air pumps. That's right indeed. Maybe 20 of them extra pumped with all the iron. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Well, my goodness, as you know, with all introductions, they're not allowed to be 97.3 days long, and I probably only covered maybe point one of what you actually do. So mind giving us a bit of your backstory of how you got to where you are today, since it's your first time on the Going North podcast?
Yeah, so I mean, that's such a broad question, but I got my start in short-term rentals kind of by accident. And so I started by arbitraging. I had an extra bedroom and decided to rent it out on Airbnb, just heard about it from a friend. And it turned out so good that I knew I needed to get more properties. I wanted to keep renting and I didn't have enough money to buy. And so I lived between 2 apartments for 2 years, just kind of going wherever it wasn't rented. I was hustling. And then eventually was able to buy, and then knew that I needed to buy out of state because Colorado is very expensive. And over the years, I've just continued to pick up properties, and I've kind of mastered the short and medium term rental spaces, which are furnished rentals. And yeah, I'm here now with 12 properties, actually 11 because I sold one yesterday. Catching me on a good day.
Oh, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. So back to preteen numbers. So scaling down at this point then?
No, I just want to change my portfolio. So I think that the longer you are in the game, the more you refine.
There you go. Refine, staying fine as wine. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right. Sifting the wheat. That's right indeed. Making sure you got the best of the best indeed. You love to see it. You love to see it. My goodness, it's starting it from Airbnb and then working your way up to creating your own metaphorical mountains. My goodness, my goodness. So with that wonderful idea that basically is now one of the big parts of what you do, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was kind of hospitality was the main thing back then with Airbnb before you decided to get more properties.
Yeah, I ended up, so there's a couple ways you can make money using short-term rentals. You can do arbitrage, which is just basically subletting. So you rent a property and re-rent it out. A lot of people like that because it's low cost to get into. You can also do co-hosting, which is just managing for somebody else. And that one is $0 to get into. So that one I loved. And I did a lot of that. I managed over 60 properties in 5 countries. So I got really good at automations, and now I help people set up automated businesses.
Ah, there we go. There we go, indeed. Because, yeah, man, you're kind of going to need an automated business for the way you stay on the move. What is it,
It's true.
48 countries you've been to thus far, or 50?
That's right. Yes. I've been to 48 countries, and travel is a big part of my life. So I needed to figure out a way that this would still work for me.
Ah, there we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, my goodness, you got this new fabulous book, The 30 Days Stay. You're finally in the business of immortality. You published your work. So, how's it feel?
It's a good way to think about it. It's great. It's still pretty surreal to have a book out with your name on it, seeing it on people's bookshelves and hearing people posting about it. Yeah, reading reviews. It's all just surreal. So definitely a dream come true.
Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about, indeed. So it was like putting it all together because I'm sure there are some things you're like, man, these stories are freaking great. Like, oh wait, I gotta give them the good content. So I was like putting it all together because I believe it's a you co-authored it too with Sarah, right? Or was it
I
something
did.
else going on?
Yeah, I brought Sarah on. We met last year, and when I had the idea for the book, she was my roommate. We were at the Bigger Pockets conference. And so I just leaned over the bookstore and pitched it to them right there. And it took a while to get it all ironed out, but it ended up working out there. And so the actual process of writing the book, it only took us 3 months. We had a pretty tight deadline,
Oh,
but between two people, that makes it a lot easier. And it's an interesting process. It's like a personal growth journey to write a book. So there's days where everything's flowing and it's easy and it's fun and just like loving yourself, cracking your own jokes. And then there's other days where it's just so hard and none of the words come out right. And you have a lot of doubts about being an imposter and am I good enough? Did I have enough experience? Is anybody going to read this book? Are they going to get anything out of it? So, yeah, having to fight those demons off and just keep pushing forward. So, I think I grew a lot during the process and it made me want to do it again. So, you may be seeing another book from me soon. Who knows?
ooh, that's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right. Some more real estate goodness, or is it going to be way off the deep end, be like a full romance novel?
No, probably more real estate goodness, but maybe, if I turn out to liking the process, I might write more and then maybe be just like a little bit more personal growth than just real estate. We'll see.
Well, I mean, hey, personal growth is probably part of real estate. Hey, gotta have the right mindset, gotta have the right people around you, and you've obviously
Absolutely.
are a role model for that, and not just
Oh,
a role
thank you.
model.
Yeah.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, so dealing with that imposter syndrome and really going through that personal growth process, what helped you to get through the imposter syndrome piece of it? Like, did you and Sarah like be like encouraging each other through the process? Like, are you able to get through that? Because I know that's still a thing that goes on with a lot of people, thanks to social media putting it in front of people's faces.
Yeah, actually, I we didn't collaborate on the book as much as I had liked. I would have loved to be kind of like co-writing at the same time, but it was more that we took different chapters and then we just checked in every once in a while, and then we read each other's chapter and added to it. But yeah, there wasn't as much collaboration as I would have liked. Imposter syndrome is something that comes and goes in my life, and I'm actually noticing it right now because even though we put out this book about the medium-term rental space, there's so much to learn. It's a really new niche in real estate. And so as I'm learning more, I shift from expert to novice. And so I am in this like beginner's mind thing again. And that can be a little unsettling. So Yeah, my goal for 2023 is to really dig in and learn as much as I can so I can go back out and teach it. So that's my process.
There you go. That white belt mode, baby. That's right, indeed. Beginner's mind, all the possibilities, endless, learning new things, keeping yourself at the cream state, being at the top.
Sure. Yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it.
You're probably, hey, wait a second. Like, you know what? It kind of makes sense.
Does.
I saw the gears turning.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. And my goodness, and you're so right with the whole medium term rental, because a lot of folks would be, or at least a lot of folks outside thinking medium term rental. Like, wait, what the heck does that even mean if they're like completely new to it? So, what is that for the folks who are complete noobs?
Yeah. So when we wrote the book, there wasn't really a term for this. And so now it seems like people are calling it midterm rentals. So it's very similar. It's the same idea. But essentially, a short term rental is under 30 days, and that ends up being like a 3 or 4 night stay. And a mid or medium term rental is 30 days plus, and the average stay is usually about 3 months. And then a long term rental is an unfurnished place that's usually a year. So short, medium, long, that's what we were going for.
There we go. That's right, indeed. No ventis allowed here unless you're in Starbucks getting your little venti latte, right?
Isn't the venti the big one? That's the large. We're still going for medium, but yeah.
That's right, indeed. Medium ahoy.
That's right.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So, my goodness. So, with the medium term rental, what can folks expect from this book? Will they get their full 6 pack abs with medium term rentals if they don't feel like trying to go for the long term rentals just yet?
Yeah. So I think that today, with high prices still and high interest rates, it's hard to make a long-term rental cash flow. So it's a lot safer for people to buy a medium-term or mid-term rental. And so that's kind of why we're really excited about this. And then with the book, it was really focused on taking action. And so we wanted to give people not just concepts, but actually actionable steps. And so we made it that if somebody never knew about real estate, they could pick up the book and by the end go buy a midterm rental. And so there's a lot of great case studies. So it's not just a dry how-to book. And we try to have mostly women highlighted in the book because this space is a lot of men in real estate. So we wanted to have the women's voices out there.
There you go. Give women that encouragement. Heck, even funny enough, Sandrina Amato, she was on the show a couple years ago, and she was on a similar mission as you. It's like, hey, empower women to be like, hey, you can buy property too, you can buy homes too, if you so desire. Like, hey, come on, girl power here. That's right, indeed. Y'all got money. That's right, indeed. Y'all gonna use it for stuffs.
Yeah. Well, I think what helps is having someone that you can relate to. So I think that the path is so much easier to get anywhere when you see someone who's done it already. And when I got started, back then it wasn't podcasts, it was blogs. But I was reading a blog from a girl who was just 1 year older than me. And so it was very relatable for me to be like, oh, look, she's doing it. She's in a different state in a different city, but she broke it down in such an easy way. So shout out to Paula Pant of the Afford Anything blog and podcast if you guys want to check her out.
There we go. That's right, indeed. Yes, indeed. A lot of good stuff that one puts out. That's right, indeed. Powerful Polio. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Who knows? She might even guest on this podcast in the future. We'll never know. Never know. It could happen. It could happen indeed. And you're so right. It's just seeing other folks that'll just give you that example. Be like, hey, this could actually be freaking done. Like, I can relate to this person. It's like, oh my goodness. Someone that looks like they're actually doing stuff that I never even considered that looks freaking cooler than 2 cucumbers. Like, it's freaking amazing.
Yep. There you go. Sometimes you just need to see it done. And then you're like, oh, it's there. It's possible.
There you go. There you go. So, my goodness, since you're a fellow podcast host, I got to ask one of those obligatory podcast questions. And I believe your podcast is actually a co hosted show with 1 or 2 other hosts, right?
Yeah, one host, Craig Kurlop, who is also a Bigger Pockets author. He wrote the House Hacking Strategy.
Ah, there you go. There you go, indeed. So, my goodness, what are the three main lessons you've learned from starting and running a successful podcast?
What I find about podcasting is it's actually a selfish pursuit. As much as there's people out there and we're getting them information and we're helping them, it's very conceptual because you don't hear from them that often. You don't really understand that there's one new person downloading versus, any other day of the week. You it's not really something that you're touching and feeling. But what I get out of podcasting is hearing everybody's stories and hearing all the creative ways they're doing something and then networking with these people. So, yeah, having a podcast is such a gift.
Ah, there you go. That's right. It's a gift and a selfish pursuit.
I think so. Yeah.
That's right, indeed. It's like, yeah, it's all about me, dang gummit. Give me that mirror. Give me the light. That's right, indeed. Limelight is all mine, baby. Forget the lemon light. It's all about that limelight, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Well, maybe not. Want to shine a light on others, share the wealth.
Yeah.
So, my goodness, since you've been on both sides of the magical microphone, is there a question that you wish folks would ask you more often when you're on these interviews?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if there's a specific question, but for me, I love when we get into realms of depth. I just think it's so much more interesting to hear someone's human journey and the hardships. And I think often in podcasts or just in real estate in general, people are only talking about their highlight reel and all the ways that they're just so brilliant and lucky and everything. And the truth is, no matter what, even if there is a lot of forgiveness in this asset class and a lot of ways to make money in real estate, you're all going to stumble, you're going to make mistakes. So I like hearing both sides.
Ah, there you go. That's right indeed. Both sides of the bread. One with the jelly, one without. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Well, since you brought up that point, got to ask you this question. So, what would you consider your biggest setback in business that actually sets you up for success?
Yeah. There's a story that I cover in the book about a partnership that went sour. And I've had a lot of partnerships before and after that have been fantastic. So I definitely highlight in that story to not think that partnerships are bad or hard or not going to work, because they can be great. But I did have a partner where it was a little bit of a handshake deal. And even though we did draft up contracts, I never got him to fully sign them. And we bought a house where he was supposed to bring money down and didn't. And he kept having excuses and excuses. And it took me a year to get him off of that deal. And he took me to court. Well, we didn't actually go to court, but he got a lawyer. And so it was a real stressful experience. I thought I might lose this house and all this money I put into it. So in the end, it turned out fine. I ended up getting the house back and only had to pay him a couple $1,000s. But what a mess. So definitely vetting your partnerships and making sure you know that person and getting everything in writing. So there's lots of lessons out there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely could say that again. Get it in writing. My goodness. Because, yeah, I remember hearing that story in one of your past interviews. I'm like, man, that's got to suck. But it's even better that you decide to realize, oh, wait, it's just one bad apple. Let me not let it spoil the whole bunch here. Let's just keep on going. And it turned out okay.
Yeah.
Like, no trap doors yet.
Yeah. And I generally like that saying, like if it's bad, it's not done yet. I don't know exactly what the saying is, but something along the lines of like, if it's not, I don't know, if it's not turning out well, there's still time, right? Like the story may not be finished. And so I could have frozen that in time and thought, wow, this home was such a big failure. But if I zoom forward, I ended up having that home appreciate to 2 times its market or, the price I bought it at. I was able to sell that home and then use the proceeds to buy another home where I've just sold yesterday and made another 150,000 off of. So it's not over till it's over.
Yeah, that's Z money, baby. That's right indeed, Z money. That's right indeed. That's right indeed, that's Z money. That's freaking
That's right.
awesome right there, indeed. That's freaking awesome right there, indeed. So my goodness, no, it ain't all about money, even though it's freaking good for you. I hear you also have a spiritual side, because if I'm not mistaken, you've been to Burning Man at least once, if I'm not mistaken, right?
5 times. Yeah. Burning Man is a real big part of our lives. So trying to go every year, see how that goes.
Ah, there you go. Probably helps you to go north, because I hear you want to develop more of your spiritual side as you get deeper and deeper into the game of life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think people think of Burning Man as a party and not as much as a spiritual experience, but it's definitely the latter. Yeah.
Ah, okay. All right. So we're going to be seeing some meditation videos down the road and different properties. It's like, hey, 30-day stay meditation, baby. That's right, indeed.
Kumbaya. Maybe I wouldn't put it past me, man. I could do it all.
There you go. You thought the Zeona McIntyre was for money, but now it's for meditation, baby. That's right. Shave your head and put on that orange robe already, dangummit. That's right, indeed. You're now in the 30-day stay meditation. Like, wait, what? I thought we were going to learn about medium-term rentals. Nah, the M was for meditation. They one person thought it was midterm and they had PTSD from college exams, and they was like, no, I had to give meditation, and now they can actually get more properties.
Love it.
Well, speaking of 30-day stay, if that wonderful book of yours was a food, what would it be and why?
Hmm. I don't know why, but I'm thinking of a Sour Patch Kid. Maybe it's the color, you know? Yeah. It's like it gives you the whole range, the sweetness and the sour. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. That was a weird question. I gave you a weird answer. So there you go.
Hey, you're the first one to see a Sour Patch Kid.
There you
That's right, indeed. Who knows? Probably from all the corn.
go.
Woo! So my goodness, coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is, if you don't wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're still in 20, what advice or would you give to yourself?
Mm. I would become a real estate agent sooner. So I've really enjoyed that path, being able to kind of coach and mentor somebody through their purchases and building up their portfolios alongside them. I think that's really fun. And it's just a great way to learn about real estate. And so if you're young, like 25, but even if you're even 18 and you're excited about real estate, you can mentor under somebody who's been doing it a long time and just learn a bunch. So that's probably what I'd do. I'd probably be doing very similar to what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. Start sooner, y'all. That's right. Start boomer sooner. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness, so speaking of starting soon, folks probably need to check out your website and keep up with your journey so they can start on that journey and keep up with all the stuff that you're doing. So for those of you who do just that, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Yeah. So my website is zeonamcintyre.com. So the spelling you probably get in the show notes. I'm the most active on Instagram. So if you want to message me there, and yeah, go check out our podcast, Invest to Fi. And then the last thing is that if you want to get our book, you can get it at biggerpockets.com/30-day stay and use the code Zeona for 10% off.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. Special code. Use that Zeona, 10% off, baby. You love to see it. That's right, indeed. Get that discount so that way your pockets can stay bigger. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Especially when Zeona decides to launch that TV show of hers in the future. That's right,
That's
indeed. It's going to be
right.
big.
I want a TV show.
That's right, indeed. We're going to call it a TZ show.
That's
Just
right.
because you're Zeona.
I like it.
That's right indeed, sir. That right, folks. Gonna put links to all that in the show notes. That way you can stay in contact with Zeona, slide into her DMs, be like, hey, you're freaking awesome. Love your freaking book, and take a selfie view with the book as well. That's right indeed. Bonus points if you're on top of a camel. That's right indeed. That's right indeed.
Love it. Yeah. I'll have to send that to you if somebody sends me one on top of a camel now. Yeah.
It'd be like, all right, cool. Words have power. Yeah. He's got an idea for a future travel spot. It's even better. It's a circle of life.
Love it.
Well, before the circle of life turns into another rabbit hole, any parting words before we close up shop?
Oh, well, I think I'd like to tell people that they can do anything they set their minds to. So go out and find good examples, even if they're not in your direct community. There are so many online meetups and Facebook groups and then in-person meetups. So surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do, and you can do it too.
Thanks a bunch for investing your time by listening to this wonderful podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you really did, do me a solid and leave a review or share this episode with at least 3 people that you think would get some value out of today's content. Advance others to advance yourself.